Hello and welcome to another video on topics related to health and wellness. Today's topic is going to be related to meditation, and I think I'll do a series of short little videos on it. And today is about the length of time that you should meditate. I get this question quite a bit. How long should I meditate? And questions around, is there anything that I should not do? So I'm going to look into that in greater detail. But it's not the question I think that we should be asking. I'll get into that. A question I think it should be, why does it take so long to see effects when I meditate? So it's not so much how long should I meditate, but why does it take so long for meditation to take effect? Now, a little disclaimer, these are just my opinions, and they're not meant to be 100% the final word. It's an exploration. So these are things I've discovered on my journey, and your experience may be different, and that's fine. And also a note that I use images here to convey a message, and if any of those images belong to you and you want a credit or you want me to take it out or whatever, just reach out to me. I'm more than willing to do whatever you want in regards to your own intellectual property. Okay, so let's charge into it. So I think the question really is not how long shall I meditate, but why does it take so long? And any of you that may have meditated may have noticed that you get tired really quickly and you get discomfort like around 5 or 10 minutes, and you're wondering, should I go 15 minutes, a half hour, an hour? I've heard all kinds of different things. When I first started to meditate, the monk that was helping me suggested I only sit for 2 or 3 minutes, once a day. Just sit down for 2 or 3 minutes and get comfortable for it. But then when we had sessions, we would sit for a long time, right? But in a group setting. So it really depends on what you're doing. So I thought I would look into that in greater detail because I think it's important. So it's not how long you meditate, but what's going on? Why does it take so long? And to understand that, we need to dig a bit deeper. Sorry about that. We need to dig a bit deeper into how we achieve that inner balance. And that's really the question. What's going on? There's something that if you haven't meditated, you really should try it to get an experience. And for those who have been meditating, you'll notice that there's something specific that happens the longer you meditate. And there's some kind of balance taking place. This balance, I believe, is something to do with the two major energy divisions in our reality. That is the yin and the yang energies. So in our bodies, there's energy classified as yin, which is the soft, receptive energies, and something called yang, which is the harder, more active energies. And these two have to be in balance. But the problem I think we start off with is we don't understand that they're two separate energies that merge together in harmony. So let's just dig a bit deeper into it. So we have a yin response and we have a yang response. The yin response, sometimes called the rest and digest, or called the relaxation response, or in a more medical, scientific term, the parasympathetic response. Parasympathetic response. And that's when we're going to rest and sleep and we relax. That's called a yin response or relaxation. The other response is sometimes called the fight or flight response. And you see that man there being chased by a snake. He's obviously frightened. He's got to run, or he's got to turn and fight the snake. This is sometimes called the stress response, or medically or scientifically, the sympathetic response. So for this video, let's just keep the terms yin and yang, because those are universally understood in various practitioners and modalities as being the relaxation response and the stress or the activity response. So when we meditate, we obviously want to go more towards the yin. We want to be like that gentleman laying down and relax. So why does it take any length of time at all? Why don't we just say to ourselves, okay, well, I'm going to meditate now, and that should only take like a fraction of a second, right? Not quite, because there's a lot that has to happen. The issue is that we have two separate nervous systems, generally speaking. So we have a central nervous system, CNS, central, which is our spine, our brain. And this nervous system is isolated from the rest of your body. Perhaps you've heard of the blood-brain barrier. Nothing can penetrate into that area, into the spinal fluid, into the cerebral fluid, unless it's intended to get there. And if things do get in there, it can create problems. Or if things come out that aren't intended, that can create other problems. So this central nervous system, as you can see here, is really our internal system. And it's what directs our entire body. It directs it and controls something called the peripheral nervous system, the PNS. The key here is that they are two separate systems. They are not connected physically. So how does it do it? How does the central nervous system talk to the peripheral nervous system, our external body, and get it to get into a meditative state of relaxation? How does it do it? Well, it does it through two separate nerves. So there's a separate nerve for yang information and a separate nerve for yin. And I know for a long time I didn't understand that. I thought that the instructions for our body to relax went on the same wire as the instructions for it to contract. That's not the case, for more correctly, for that area of your body to become active and more yang. But they're really two separate. And if you look at the very bottom here, they're identical, except when you get down to the bottom here where you have the T standing for target. The molecule being sent out is a different molecule from the yang nervous system than it is from the yin. And right away, you can probably see here how the pharmaceutical industry could generate drugs to, replace that. So if you're not relaxed enough, you could take a drug like, say, Valium, that would produce that chemical and fake out the target organs. Okay? So key here is the two separate nerves. So that's kind of interesting, but if we go a little bit further, we can see that the yang nerves come from a specific area of the spine, come from a specific area of the central nervous system, called the thoracic area, which is sort of around the heart sternum area down to around the lower back. And you can see here the nerves are coming out and they go to everywhere in your body. So to put your, say, let's look at your lungs. To make your lungs breathe faster, your heart beat harder, the nerves coming from that area are designed specifically to produce the stress response. And I want you to notice that they're located, because now when we look at the yin response, they come from dramatically different areas. The nerves that cause relaxation, that come from two areas, which is why it's the peripheral sympathetic system, parasympathetic system. They come from just below the skull or at the cervical vertebrae, C1, C2 area, and cerebellum, and they come at the very tailbone, the sacrum. Notice that these nerves, therefore, have to travel further, right? And that they are distinctly different. This would explain why, if you want someone to relax, if you massage the back of their neck, right, or put a warm blanket or a warm towel under someone's neck, or in some cases you might want to put cool, that immediately causes relaxation. So if you want to relax all the internal organs of the body and the muscles, you massage the neck and you massage the lower back, which is again another area where people put a heating pad. So that's the first challenge. We've got to understand that it's an interaction of these two nervous systems. This is why it takes time. So when you sit down, you start to go through what they call the sleep cycle. Now, they've done a lot of research on this, and they found out that meditators go through the similar cycle that people follow when they go to sleep. So they go through these stages. Then when you sit down to meditate, you too will go through these stages, but faster. I remember once I went to get a checkup and they gave me a cardiogram, and I got wired up, and they were going to check my rhythm, my heart. And it took a while. They had to put, those little connectors all over my body, and the technician was there, was talking to me, joking, da-da-da. And then he turned to me and he said, "Okay, Mr. Oliver, I would like you to just relax now." And I relaxed, and there was a pause, and he looked at me and he said, "Oh, that was pretty quick." So when he told me to relax, I went into the parasympathetic response, the relaxation response, very quickly. Why? Because I have done meditation and Tai Chi for many, many years. So I had learned through practice to go to those deeper levels of meditation quickly. And he could see that immediately on his EKG machine. Now, here's the key. When you are just learning to meditate, you are actually learning how to go through these steps faster. And I'll explain in a minute why you would want to do that. But you go from stage 1, which is like a light daisy sleep, and you go into, and see there it says in stage 2, waves slow down. And then you go into stage 3, delta, and waves begin to appear to actually almost stop. They go down. I'll explain that more in detail. And then there's the eye rapid in stage 4, rapid eye movement, REM sleep. And then you come out of it. Now, during say a 6 or 7 hours of sleeping, you might go through back up and down in those stages. But when you meditate, you generally speaking try to get to stage 3. Most people hang out around stage 1, 1.5, and then the question is, how long will it take you? So this is probably why the monk told me, he said, just sit for 2 or 3 minutes, because he knew that after a while I would begin to slip into stage 2, and I would automatically begin to sit longer. And if he told me to sit for 15, 20 minutes, I probably would go, what, that long? And it would become a challenge. But by telling me, just sit for 2 or 3 minutes, he knew that just the natural process, I would begin to go down to these lower levels. So let's look at these levels. These levels are called brain wave cycles. And they start at beta, which is what is considered to be a consciously awake. I'm sorry this is a bit blurry. You can just go online and search for brainwave cycles, and there's all kinds of charts like this if you want more information. But here we go. So beta, which is in the area of like 13, 14, and up, beats per second. So this is all in beats per second. So this is when you're awake. Now, if someone is really stressed out, their beats per second beta will be, 20, 25, even higher. And this is one way that you can electrically spot. So this is probably what the technician saw, that I was probably in beta when he was telling me jokes and we were chit-chatting. And then when he said relaxed, my frequency cycles dropped, probably down to like around 6 and 7 or 5 very quickly. And he noticed that. So this is one of the things they measured. Now notice here that when you go down from beta, you go to alpha, which is around 8 beats to 13 beats per second. This is when you are maybe listening to music, pre-sleep, you're just very quiet. This is a state you want to be in if you're going to study. If you're going to work on any projects, you might say to someone, can you be quiet? Don't, you might turn off the TV or put on some quiet music and try to focus. So focusing on internal things that you need to do, such as working on a math problem or whatever, writing a story or painting, you want to be in alpha. So that's a good state to be in. But when you meditate longer, you'll go down into theta, which is even slower, which is around 4 beats per second. That's getting slow. And then when you get into the deep levels, you get down to less than 3 beats per second. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because at each of these levels, different physiological responses start to happen. So as you sit longer, you will notice you will feel physically different, okay? And if you look here on the right-hand column, you'll notice that when you go from beta into alpha, this is the alpha level, that you start to decrease endorphins like cortisol. So your stress your stress endorphins like cortisol are reduced, and your serotonin begins to increase. Right? So your hormones like serotonin increase, and your cholesterol, cortisol, ones that would cause rapid heartbeat, begin to decrease. So that's 2 separate nervous systems working here at the same time. One reducing the cortisol and the other increasing the serotonin. Very important. Then as you sit longer and you go into the theta level, notice here that there are other very important chemicals being produced that are associated with healing. So even if you can just get to theta, you will notice that if you stay in a state for any period of time, you will begin to get a sense of well-being, and actually your body starts healing. This is one of the reasons why perhaps one of the best advice a doctor can give a patient is to take 2 aspirins and go to bed, sleep. And this raises a question, why is meditation more powerful than sleep? The reason is that when you go into theta and you start producing these healing hormones, you are conscious. So you can consciously keep yourself calm. And everybody knows that they've woken up from a sleep with the pillows on the floor and the blankets all tore up. You had a stressful sleep. So going to sleep doesn't guarantee that you will relax, but meditating does, because you are conscious the whole time. So you can notice when you're getting anxiety, and you can deal with that to stay in that peaceful state. Then finally, if you can get down into delta, you will notice that some really amazing things start to happen. And this is where growth hormones start to be released and serious healing takes place. This may be another reason why people, when they are in serious health issues, curl up in a ball and go almost catatonic, and they go into a deep state. Because one of the things that happens when you go into delta is that your body will become immovable. And this might freak people out the first time they experience it, that they can't move. So if you get into delta, if you're meditating, you get into these lower frequencies, you might find that when you're coming out of it, that you can't move right away. It takes a minute or two for your body to, quote, wake up when you come out of delta and you get more into the theta and alpha levels, that your mobility comes back. This is one reason why when you meditate, you come out of your meditation, you open your eyes or whatever it is you're doing, that you don't try to get right up, that you stay there. The recommended rule of thumb is that you sit quietly post-meditation the same length of time that you were in the meditation. Now, I personally have never been able to do that. I would always wait until I could wiggle my toes and everything felt normal, and I would rub, gently massage my legs and hands and make sure that I felt like you have that feeling when you go to sleep that you can't feel your feet. I don't know if you've ever had that, but you might get that if you go into delta. In any event, it takes time to get into your meditation and it takes time to come out of it. Do not rush anything. So let's just talk about this a little bit more. When we're talking about the delta, which is around 3 beats per second, I wanted you to actually hear what that sounds like. So I'm going to play a little segment here. This is a professional drummer and healer. I have the link for his work in the comments, so you can go and listen to the whole segment. But I just, hopefully he's okay with this. I just want to play a small segment of him playing. So just listen to this, 3 beats per second. Yeah, 3 beats per second. Quite interesting, eh? So it's hard to conjure up how for me, it sounds actually fast, right? But that's the rhythm that he played, that Jeff played. That's the 3 beats delta frequency. So if you go and watch his whole video on this, he explains that he uses this rhythm and sometimes he goes a faster rhythm. But very interesting, eh? So that's where you want to get down to. So when you're meditating, you might notice that the meditation has a significant impact on your whole endocrine system. And here I got a little chart. You can just look and see that these glands are located at your chakras. So each of these chakra points, there is a key glandular system that is related. Just a point of note that these frequency numbers you see here are different. These are tone frequencies that people have associated with the different ones. Well, I thought I would just share that with you, and I think we pretty much have covered the topic for today. So, to wrap it up, when you're looking at how long to meditate, start off, if you're a beginner, start off with just little short meditations and just let it grow naturally, remembering that it's going to take a while. And the reason it's going to take a while is because your yin and yang nervous systems have to communicate and balance out. And this just takes a while. So, as I mentioned in my previous videos, if you want to support me and help me be able to do more work like this, just go to www.buymeacoffee.com at SD Oliver and buy me a coffee. The idea, the proceeds from that, I'll be used to upgrade my technology and hopefully in the near future, maybe have a guest. So that's pretty much it for today. And I really appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you in the next video.